when you talk tonight, right? People can think about their stories just like they have in the past, right, when they've done this. But the main thing that we want to keep pretty short and simple is, look, the state is coming after our kids. Our kids need what it is that they need, and you all have an opportunity to lead and provide them what they need, right? So we're asking you to choose sides with our kids rather than choose sides with the state, right? And the way you do that is you vote no on the budget, and you go back to the table and you come up with some creative solutions to get our kids what they need, right? And so we've got some banners. We'll see what it's gonna. We'll see how big they are and see if they work. But basically, this theme of like, which side are you on, right? There's the state and there's our kids, right? And y'all have an opportunity to choose the right thing, right? If people want to get into where they can find the money, right? Obviously, there's our folks that are here that are doing the work around the jail, right? You want to raise that, right? You want to say, you know, there's lots of different creative things we can do to sit back at the table, do that, right? But the main thing is the question is, are you on the side of the state or are you on the side of our kids, right? We're asking you to be on the side of our kids, right? So the way it works is that people can go in right now and sign up. There should be a specific budget item. There should be a specific item on the agenda for the budget. I think it's number 6, right? And so we'll be able to have people sign up for that. Obviously, we'd like as many voices as possible. If you don't feel super comfortable telling some long, elaborate story, that's great. You got bullet points in your hand. Just walk up and say those things in the way that you would say them. But the other thing is that right now, we're expecting that we will not win this vote, right? And so what we're asking folks to do is, as they get ready to have the vote, we're gonna stand, right? They vote our way, they get a standing ovation, right? We thank them, we walk out. They vote the other way, we just turn and walk out, right? And we meet back up here, check in, see how everybody's feeling, give each other 5s, right? So again, y'all, tonight, the win is not necessarily that we get the budget that we want, right? Just to prepare people for that. The win is we get to draw some lines and we get to see who's on what lines, and then we can use those lines going forward, right? So there's a couple of folks that have cameras and they want to say what it is they're trying to do to see if people want to talk to them at some point in the evening. Obviously, people are free to make whatever decisions they want on that. So do you want to share first, Janine, what you're doing?
Oh yeah, hi, I'm Janine Salt.
By the companies that provide telephone service, that provide food services. They go to bed at night with 2 cold sandwiches, and then that's supposed to be you're good until the next morning. And so that creates a situation where they need to buy from the canteen, which is provided by like a for-profit company called Aramark. So like people are like caught in the jail and like being forced to be customers of these companies, and it's a really big hardship for their families and for Durham. And so if you want to show, I don't know where they took all the buttons.
On the budget is a rejection of the DPS proposal.
No.
And it doesn't meet our kids' needs, and it takes us out of the state.
So if they vote the commissioners, right?
The commissioners,
Okay,
yeah.
so if they vote no, what?
If they vote no, then the budget fails, and we got to sit back down and do it all over again.
Okay.
That's what we want.
Okay, I'll put
Yeah. We want that.
Okay, yeah.
This is where we are. This is where we are.
Now, I'd like to thank all of you for your presence here this evening. I will ask that you would please observe our public charge, and that public charge is that we ask all members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner, both with our board and with our fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chairman will ask the offending person to leave the meeting. As always, we ask you also to please silence your cell phones during this meeting. Please stand to announce our pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners, I would like to ask that we would tonight observe a moment of silence for two reasons. One being the loss. Are there other announcements for this evening? Michael Delvin, who is a community disease control specialist and HIV counselor, who was honored at the North Carolina Red Ribbon Community Awards Gala. Kathy and Jackie, congratulate you both, and thank you so much for again bringing to life, highlighting Durham County and your success, and we appreciate and congratulate you for what you have done. What I'd like to do is offer you an opportunity to speak to us tonight, and then I'm going to present this award back to you. Ms. Kathy, please have you introduce yourself.
Good evening, Commissioners. I really want to thank you for allowing us to highlight the work of a magnificent team that we have at the Health Department. It was just two of the really wonderful staff members that I am very privileged to work with. Kathy joined us 2 years ago. She has 18 years in public health. She came from Dare County to work with us. And the work that she does in communicable disease control and investigating outbreaks is second to none. She's always very thorough and to the point that the state is opted to give her that award at the annual conference. Jackie Melvin has been with us 21 years, and she has worked tirelessly in our community in combating HIV and AIDS. Durham County has not number 4 in North Carolina for new cases of HIV. But Jackie has spent her 20
prior to the 2008 economic downturn. The other challenges we face is the possibility that the General Assembly may change the sales tax revenue distribution. And all scenarios have resulted in a major loss of revenue for our community. I recognize the challenge state leaders face identifying approaches that create additional revenue streams for our state. And I'm hopeful that policies, in fact, will occur that keep the viability of the entire state in the forefront and the long-term impact of revenue shifts from communities such as ours. The sales tax revenue and property tax revenue investments that are made to attract and retain corporate businesses supports this region, and it keeps our overall state strong. Last year, around this time, I communicated to the board that are most important. Our departments are to be commended for the work that they did in creating opportunities for us to be able to reinvest existing dollars to get a higher impact on our investments. We supported some of the highest priorities in this budget, including funding enrollment growth for Durham Public Schools and charter schools, and an additional dollars that were allocated as of last week to support teacher supplements. The fact is, as one of the top 3 locally funded, we are one of the top 3 locally funded school districts. It is my belief that our local per pupil student funding has consistently been kept strong by this Board of Commissioners. Yet, there is a need to determine enrollment growth. And with this allocation, our funding per student increases to $3,108, which still puts us amongst the highest in the state. I'm excited about the upcoming year and the work that we can collectively achieve as we focus on several major policy matters, including conversations on how we address capital budget needs that face Durham Public Schools, county government, and other areas Durham County has historically funded. Operating budget policy matters face our emergency management services, our infrastructure, human services, and approaches needed for a more effective nonprofit allocation strategy. The overarching driver of these policy matters is the Board of County Commissioners' strategic plan, with an expectation that we will manage our operations to achieve results that yield the highest returns on investment. Finally, I want to thank department heads and their staff, the county manager's office team members, and the Budget and Management Services Department for their efforts in getting us to this point. This has been a unique budget season for those particularly in Budget and Management Services and the Strategic Initiatives area, for they've been running a dual process, working to pilot those departments that we are establishing our model for managing for results implementation, and at the same time carrying out this important budget work. So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments. And again, I want to thank the board and the community for their indulgence as we go through this difficult process of trying to allocate these resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I want to also just commend and thank the commissioners for your due diligence in helping the staff to shape this budget, and also respecting wishes from our citizens that we try to maintain the line on our spending and particularly raising the taxes. So we've been able to achieve this at this point this year, and I want to commend you for that leadership. I am going to recognize each of you to speak on the budget. Before I do that, we have several persons that are signed up to speak. And actually, this is not a public hearing tonight on this item, but you still have an opportunity to share with the commissioners. I have 28 people who are signed up to speak. So what I'm going to do, in the essence of time, to the agreement, can we all take 1 minute and speak on the budget, please, each person, because we have been through this, and I think we went through this, and actually we have more. So we have, so what we're going to do is just, if we could just be real succinct and to the point and just share with these commissioners, and once again, I think they have really heard all of us, and all of us absent. We've heard exactly what you have shared with us, your concerns, and we do value your concerns, but in the essence of this evening's agenda, I want to honor this if we possibly could. I want to first recognize Dr. Jerome Washington, and then I'm going to recognize Holly Jordan, followed by Charlie Reese. If you would take the mic to the left or to the right, and please utilize your time. It would help if after calling the name that you would go ahead and proceed to the mic.
Commissioners, good evening. I stand on behalf of the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance. I am pastor of Mount Vernon Baptist Church, and I chair the Political Action Committee. My comments are very succinct. The IMA has on its roll 140 pastors and ministers. We're very concerned about what's going to happen with regard to Durham Public Schools, and the long and short of it is we want you to know that we support Durham Public Schools. We have members of our congregation who are part of the school system. Great things are happening there. However, we would like to say we want to see Durham Public Schools do a better job of stewardship when it comes to the resources they have available to them. And we are suggesting that you go forward with your proposal to the school system, but also leave room for negotiations once funding from the state has been provided.
Thank you, Madam Porter. And I'm going to do this differently. I was informed that we do this by numbers. So, item number 2, speaker number 2, I hope you know your numbers. Number 2, Holly Jordan.
I'm here.
Okay, great.
My name is Holly Jordan. I live at 1104 Fisk Street. I've been a teacher with Durham Public Schools for 9 years, and we've been fighting this fight for a while. And for most of that time, you county commissioners have been on the right side, been on the side of the children. And I know it's easy to make excuses now about why we can't be fully on that side anymore. There's a lot of excuses to make, but I think the thing you can't excuse away is that not fully funding this budget hurts our children. This is at the heart, this is not a fight about money or about teachers or about bus drivers. It's about what our children need. And even 33 fewer teachers hurts children. High turnover among underpaid and overworked bus drivers hurts children. And particularly here in Durham, it hurts low-income children and children of color. So the school workers and educators and parents in this room, we're here because we care about fully funding this budget, not for our own sakes, but for the sakes of children. We stand on the side of children, and we vote for people who stand on the side of children. Thank you.
Number 3, followed by number 4 and 5.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Reese. I'm a proud resident of Durham. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the funding level for our Durham Public Schools. On the day that I was born, my parents were 16 and 17 years old, but they worked hard, they graduated from high school, and they taught me the value of good education. I went on to become the very first person in my family to graduate from college. This should be the story of every child in Durham. Our public schools should be the engines of social and economic advancement for working families. That's the promise we make to parents like my parents who put their trust and their children in our public schools. That trust has been shattered by the Republicans in the General Assembly. They have slashed funding for our public schools in favor of tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. They have told us who they are and what they value. Tonight, members of the County Commission, you will tell the people of Durham who you are and what you value. I'm going to need to vote no on this budget tonight to go back to the drawing board and fully fund our public schools for our community and for our city. Thank you.
Speaker number 4, speaker number 5.
My name is Lisa McCool-Grimes. I teach high school mathematics at the Southern School of Energy and Sustainability. My son attends EK Poe. The state is and has consistently been divesting in public education and leaving our public school students with so much less than they truly deserve. We public school teachers, teacher assistants, custodians, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, maintenance workers, parents, and so many other public school supporters are investing in public education with our work, our children, and our lives. We are inviting you tonight to stand on our side with us, send a message to the state about our priorities, vote against funding inhumane treatment of incarcerated individuals, vote against this underfunded school budget, and return to working on a budget that invests in the schools that our students deserve.
Fight with the state. Make a stand with us and join our partnership and vote no on the budget. The jail does not need additional funds to assist in dehumanizing its inmates. Give that $2 million to our future commissioners and leaders of Durham County. Plant that seed for success and show our kids that they do matter. Fund schools, not jails, and please vote no.
Item 6, followed by 7, followed by 8.
Good evening. My name is Paige McCullough. I live at 110 West Lavender Avenue. I am here to represent the Durham People's Alliance. I ask you to vote no on this budget and go back to the drawing board to the DPS request. The first thing to add is a raise for classified staff. Durham is a prosperous and generous community, and working full-time should be appropriately rewarded. We can afford to do the right thing. People's Alliance asks you to vote no, stand up to this day, side with our students.
We respectfully request that you vote in favor of the full request from the DPS from Durham Public Schools. We want a vote. We don't want promises. We want a vote.
My name is Nicholas Graves. I live at 1809 Glendale Avenue. I have a son at E.K. Poe Elementary. My daughter this year from the Deaf and Hard of Hearing from C.C. Spalding, and I teach at Hillside High School. What we have is a manufacturing crisis created by the General Assembly, and that's not fair. When I step into my classroom, when all the teachers in the district, all the school workers step in, we don't have the resources we need right now to meet our kids' needs. But when we step in our classroom, we have a responsibility to do our best with those kids. We teach. We serve food, we drive buses, anything that we need to do, we do it. Similarly, it's the job of this commission to govern. And it's not going to do me any good as a teacher to point at the state, and I do point at the state. But when I step in the classroom, I have to teach. We can point the finger at the state all we want, but at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of this commission to do everything in your power, and it is in your power to fully fund this budget to give our students what they need. And that's what we're asking you to do. Fully fund this budget, fully meet the needs of our students. Because this budget really needs to go a lot farther to fully meet the needs of our students. We need pre-K, we need a lot more. This is just the tiniest step forward.
In Durham, North Carolina. I'm here as a product of Durham Public Schools. I have children in Durham Public Schools, and I say children, I have 2 of my own. But every time I step into that school to volunteer my 15 to 20 hours a week because my teachers just don't have time to teach anymore. We need you to help support our schools. I would love to believe that we could set a standard on how to make public schools work. Our state has no confidence that we can do it, but we know that we can. We can make Durham prolific in how we manage our schools. These are our schools. We have to fight for them. And I'm disillusioned that we have to campaign to fight for our children. We should not have to have this conversation over and over again because the strategic goal.
Oak Valley Elementary School, resident of Durham. I'd like to draw an analogy between the crossroads we're at tonight and the crossroads we come to in my classroom at the end of each day. We ask the students to participate in cleaning up the room. We have a very fine staff, classified staff that cleans up the building, but they have a lot of work to do. We need to pave the way for them to do their job quickly. I'm often met with comments of students, I did not make up this mess that you asked me to pick up. And I say that as a community, it is our job to step up to the plate when someone else drops the ball. And I feel that as teachers, we're often doing that very same thing in our classrooms. When I console a student about his fears of going to prison as an 8-year-old child, afraid of going to prison after he's caught stealing something from someone's lunch, I am in fact working to pick up the ball for a society that has 5% of the world's population and 25% of its prison population. So please continue the leadership picking up after other people's problems. Thank you.
Speaker Chance, followed by Speaker 12.
And I'm here for later.
Thank you.
Homeowner in Northgate Park. I'm also the son of an educator of 34 years. My grandmother, too, is 104 and was an educator for 75 years. They would say that they came from an era that valued education. And the General Assembly has made it clear they no longer value education in the state. We've seen that. Well, we also appreciate your reluctance to raise taxes because the General Assembly has also effectively raised the tax rate for lower and middle class North Carolinians as well. But in doing so, they've left a possible solution. We realize this is the 11th hour, but we do encourage you to vote no on today's budget. But that solution, use that award-winning tax department you have to determine an exemption rate for Durhamites, and then raise the taxes so that that tax appetite that exists in the upper echelons of our society, the wealthy and the corporations in our city, let them absorb the higher tax rate so that you can fully fund the Durham Public Schools.
Hello. I'm sorry.
Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Alex LeMay. I'm a 21-year teacher, 18 of them here in Durham. My 2 kids are in high school here too. I just got back from travels, and in the airports, it's the same conversation. What do you do? I'm a teacher. Oh, where do you teach? In North Carolina, we go, Everybody knows. I was like, no, I work in Durham. We've got arts, we've got, revitalize downtown, we've got people who care desperately about education. And the truth is, it takes money to do this job. I mean, I would like to say that just good intentions can do it, but I've called downtown and where the people that used to help me, I had 3 people who were working in the department. There's one, she's doing not only those 3 jobs, but something else. It's thin there, it's thin in the classroom. We've got bigger class sizes than we have. We need the budget to be fully funded. The trip that I was on was one that Duke had sponsored to send teachers and principals down to Mexico to help us understand the education system there, to help our Latino students here, which is a big need. Our ESL, English Second Language teacher, is in a half-time position now, and we just need the resources. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Speaker 13, 14, 15.
Well, I represent the parents and the loved ones as well as for inside and outside lives, of course, involving the running of the Durham County Jail. Now, everyone jail is guilty, and no, not everyone is guilty, but everyone that is guilty is jailed. And the reason why the majority of a lot of those inmates are there are because they are uneducated. Although Sheriff Andrews have made some changes in the oppression imposed on inmates, the changes are still far from adequate. They are now allowed 4 hours outside of their cells for recreation and phone calls. The food is still poor. There's no nutritional food. Shoes are being held captive while many people suffer from athletic conditions and injuries due to walking on hard and cold floors. My son has had previous injuries prior to his incarceration on his feet, and having no shoes has damaged the structure of his foot. Legal repercussions are in order. There was a fight in Part 40 Thursday. Everybody was locked down because of this fight. Although the persons were identified that started this fight, Major Couch has quoted that no one will receive their shoes back and that everything that has been done will continue to proceed. This jail...
Excuse me, if you could wrap your comments up.
Yes, I do. This jail is a means of making money off of inmates, families, and taxpayers. I think all taxpayers should be aware of what's going on. I just want to make
Speaker 14, Speaker 15.
Hi, my name is Justine Johnson. I live in Durham. I'm here again tonight to speak to you about the Durham County Detention Facility. I've been told by some of you that Sheriff Andrews is going to be issuing a report on the conditions at the jail. I look forward to seeing that, though I am not holding my breath. I don't expect it to be very much. The concerns I have about what is going on over there are vast and deep. We could be here all night, truly. But since I have just 1 minute now, I'm going to focus on one thing, this. Specifically, we want to know why are mail letters consistently not getting to inmates? What is the jail's protocol for not allowing an inmate to receive a letter from their family, or friends, or loved ones? This is a stack of more than 20 letters that myself and others, friends, family members, loved ones, have written to people inside the Durham County in the past 3 months. Some of what they tell us when they write to us is about the lockdown, is about the conditions, is about the horrible food and everything bad that's going on. For a while, we heard nothing back. It's unusual because we usually do correspond back and forth. Then a few weeks ago, we got all these returns. Many of them are double stamped. They were received twice, once on April 28th, once on May 28th. Obviously, our mail is being held. It's a common practice, and it's one of many things I want you to look into. As I've said before, I and many others are demanding an independent investigation of the jail by doctors, nutritionists, mental health professionals, lawyers, regular people, teachers, everyone who's affected by the jail, whether on the inside or outside or both. Until that happens, I urge you to withhold budgetary funding for the Durham County Detention.
Excuse me, I want to just say this to you, the Black speaker, those questions, many things you raised, were answered late this afternoon. I know it's on my email, but we want to make sure you get a copy of the responses.
I hope it's made public for everyone to see, not just me. I hope it's issued why the Durham County Office and the media. And
I don't have a problem with that. I was just trying to help you by responding to you, but that's fine. We'll make sure that. Speaker 15.
Hi, my name is Holly Woodard. I am an ESL teacher at Holt Local Elementary Language Academy. I heard you mention earlier that this budget has been put together putting our highest priorities first. How can our highest priority not be our young students in Durham Public Schools? State politicians have obviously turned their backs on public schools. I was published in the Durham Herald this morning with my letter to the editor talking about that in a little bit more detail. But commissioners, today you have an opportunity here to show that you support Durham's young people. You can prove that you are leaders and not followers to this nonsense going down in the state. You can do this by voting no to this budget. It doesn't fund anything fully. You can figure out a different way to work with the tough budget by finding a way to not undercut Durham Public Schools and its staff. Vote no to fully fund Durham Public Schools and its future.
And speaker 16, 17, 18.
Good evening, my name is Alec Greenwald. I'm an 8-year public school teacher in 3 different states and 2 different countries. Upon moving to Durham 2 years ago, I was forced to bail. I was forced to leave the classroom due to making enough money for my family. I've been witness to see the juxtaposition in the way that this state operates in comparison to other states. And it's truly a sad state of affairs right now. The irony in all of this that I'm hearing from many educators is that we still have students in the classroom. We still have our own children. So I have 2 children at Southwest Elementary School that I encourage and to attend public school, to respect their teachers, to do well in school. And they look at me and say, Daddy, but weren't you a teacher in public schools? Yeah, but I can't do that anymore. So I encourage you to vote no and to take another look at the budget.
Good evening, my name is Anna Stefan. I'm a teacher at Lakewood Montessori Middle School and I've taught hundreds of Durham students. No great hope is coming from Raleigh. Durham cannot join hands with a state budget that is abusive, neglectful, and insulting. Durham can be Canada, the model it knows how to be, and stand in support of its communities through public schools. Vote against the budget. Vote against this hurtful budget. Vote against this insufficient budget. No one in this room wants this budget. The jails don't want this budget. The DAE doesn't want this budget. The Public Alliance doesn't want this budget. The Alliance for Public Education doesn't want this budget. This is not the right budget. The people don't want this budget. You all stood earlier to recognize the accomplishments of 2 of your colleagues. I ask you to stand with us now to recognize the accomplishments, the daily accomplishments of your students in Durham, of your teachers in Durham, of your custodians in Durham, of your bus drivers in Durham, and you are not standing.
Could you please wrap up your comments?
Of course. You describe this budget as a strategic investment. How can this be a strategic investment without investment in public education?
Speaker 19, followed by Speaker 20.
I'm 18.
Speaker 19?
I'm 18.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you're right.
My name is Ann Rebeck. I'm the president of the Durham Council of PTAs. I'm here to report that in the last couple of weeks, myself and our board have been visiting a lot of PTAs that are doing just what you're doing. They're all setting budgets. And we spend a lot of time telling them to dream and to dream big because we need more resources in our schools. So they are dreaming and they are dreaming big. So far, I haven't heard any of them talk about return on investment because they know that every dollar invested in children will give you as a community a return. So I'm asking you to go back to the drawing board, to start over, to fully fund our schools. And if not, please vote against this budget. Thank you.
My name is Brian Prophet. I live at 512 Dunbar Street. I'm an 11-year veteran in North Carolina's classroom. Just finished up my 8th year at Hillside High School. And there's lots of different ways, I think, to frame the choice before you tonight. There's the commissioners versus the school board. There's educators who aren't interested in accountability and a community that is. Right? There's certain members of the board versus the other. There's jails versus schools. There's lots of different ways to frame the choice before you tonight, but I think the clearest way to frame the choice before you tonight is the state, who is trying to take away our kids' health care, who is taking away our kids' voting rights, who is locking our kids up, who is dismantling our schools right before us. And there's no guesses about the fact that what they're going to do in the current budget. They've been doing the same thing and they're going to continue to do the same thing. And so the chief choice that you all face tonight is standing with that state that is coming at our kids with everything they can, or standing with educators, and standing with parents, and standing with community members who are here tonight saying we're in there with our kids every single day. We need you all to lead. We need you all to say that Durham is a different kind of community. We need you to vote no on this budget.
21-22 policy that your person can stop by the clerk's desk and sign up to speak, and I'll act them just like I would everyone else.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then good, I'll still make my comment
That'd
because
be fine. You have
they
one
told us
minute.
outside that you couldn't still sign up, so that was why.
Well, we don't switch our speakers, so.
Okay, well, as long as you can still sign up. Okay, well, my name is Steph Gans. I live at 803 Demarius Street. I'm here tonight to tell you not to give 1 more cent of Durham County residents' money to the inhumane treatment in the Durham County Jail. The budget you approved shows the county's priorities. Giving $2 million to the Sheriff's Department for the jail while denying schools much-needed funds would show those priorities. You've told us the Sheriff's Department runs the jail. Go talk to them. But they've heard from us outside the jail every Friday, and we've heard from inmates about countless inmate grievances they filed that go unread and unanswered. The Sheriff's Department didn't have a public comment session when they decided to put inmates on lockback 4 days at a time, or when they decided to feed inmates just 2 cold sandwiches for dinner, or raise the fee for a medical call from $10 to $20. The budget is your power. It is your chance to say, no, we do not accept this treatment of anybody in Durham County. Do not approve any more funding for the jail until there is a fully independent investigation of the conditions and the lockback is ended. Vote no on this budget. Thank you.
My name is Steve Lorenz, and I live at 508 East Trinity Avenue. And I'm here tonight to say not 1 more cent should go to the jail, stop funding inhumane treatment. Personally, I would say line item for the jail, 0. But I realize you're probably not going to do that, but I would say before any money is released to the Sheriff's Department, you should demand answers to the following questions. And I have 20 of them, and I know that 20 questions is a game, but this sheriff should know, the sheriff who continues to dodge questions and sanction abuse should know that we're not playing. Why are medical fees going up? Why are they getting doubled? Why is mail not getting to inmates? Why does mandated online visitation scheduling that started in November ensure that there are fewer visitors to the jail? How come shoes were stolen from inmates on Pod 4D? Where are those shoes now? Why are inmates not allowed to have pencils in their cells? If an inmate is transferred to another facility, how do you tell the people who were scheduled for this visitation? What about when an inmate is moved to a different pod and that changes their visitation day? Do you tell the people who are going to visit them? Because otherwise they're just wasting their time showing up for visitation.
Could you please wrap up your conversation?
I will wrap up very soon. How come you're not letting inmates have books that are coming from booksellers or book distributors authorized by the NC Department of Corrections? Are inmates allowed to possess the Quran? And also, what are you doing with all the grievances that are being filed or not filed because you're not even letting them out of their cells to file them? So I'll stop there.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Ballester. I live at 1011 Birch Avenue. I'm going to start off where Steve left off. Why are student IDs or Mexican consular IDs accepted at visitation sometimes, but not at other times? What are the results of the investigation into the alleged finding of improvised weapons inside the jail? Do you have any photos of said weapons for the public to see? Has anyone been charged in connection with the alleged safety breach or other contraband that was allegedly found? How many staff members have resigned from the Durham County Detention Facility in the past 6 months? How are inmates screened for mental illness / mental health issues, and how does the Durham County Detention Facility provide care for detainees with such issues? What is the Durham Jail's protocol for reporting suicide attempts or suicides? What is the restraint chair? Who is authorized to use on inmates, and what do mental health professionals have to say about it? Does the Durham County Detention Facility have a policy manual? If so, is this manual available for the public to view? Have you issued a detailed report about the implementation of the lockback? What is the basis for your collective punishment of inmates? When will inmates be granted full recreation time? And when will you submit to a full independent investigation of the jail by doctors, mental health professionals, nutritionists, lawyers, and community people?
I'm sorry, 24 is public hearing items.
23 right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is David Thurr. I was here about 2 weeks ago now to speak to you about the conditions in the jail. And so in that time, a lot's happened. Maybe not a lot, a few things have happened. We spoke, the jail began allowing prisoners down 2 more hours a day. We're happy about that. That's something that is not enough. This very same week that they began allowing prisoners down 2 more hours a day, they doubled the price for medical calls. What was $10 to receive basic first aid in the Durham County Jail is now $20. If I was to fall and scrape my knee out here, you would give me a Band-Aid free. I know that. In there, $20. $20 for any medical care. I could go on. I could go on talking all day about the things that happened if I wanted to give you 1 minute. 1 minute to speak of men and women who were held 20 hours a day in that cell. 1 minute. I want to talk about who is in those cells and why they are there, you know? When you say, you ask that question, why are they in those cells? Why are they in the jail? And many people will say because they're criminals. But I remind you, they're in there because they cannot pay bail. The grand majority of them are in there because they're poor. The rich walk, the poor are held. That is how that jail works. Thank you.
I'm Lee Gans. I live at 2504 Crescent Avenue. I'm here to discuss the jail. I'm the lab manager of the Adcox Lab at the Center for Cognitive Neuroscience at Duke University. At the last budget meeting, I tried to convince you using facts, using my expertise as a researcher, that the treatment of the prisoners in the jail constitutes torture and financial exploitation. But from the looks of it, the facts could not convince you. I'm not surprised. As a psychologist, I know that facts don't really convince anyone of anything. Not when the issue being debated is one of basic morality and decency, like the definition of torture. Identifying torture is not a skill you learn like how to do math. It's something you feel deep down, something you learn from experiencing or empathizing with pain. So why then, as a psychologist, do I bother talking about facts? Because while the facts can't give you that feeling of wrongness deep down that tells you you must act to stop torture, sometimes when good, compassionate people have found ways to rationalize denying the moral consequences of their actions, the facts can give them permission to let that feeling deep down inside take over and let them make the choice to do the right thing. You might rationalize your actions by labeling the community members who have raised their voices in protest as hysterical, or the inmates as dangerous, or say that you have no control over how the jail treats its inmates. You can say those things to yourself, but let me remind you that the actual facts do not permit any compassionate person to believe any of those things, as the previous speakers have already covered.
My name is Eli Meyerhoff, and I'm a Durham resident. I've written dozens of letters with prisoners over the past couple of years, got to know them as real human beings with real feelings, emotions, and learned about the horrible conditions they've experienced before the lockback started happening. But after the lockback started in early March, all of my letters have been blocked. No explanation was given for why they were blocked, so my question is, what is the sheriff who is the jail trying to hide by blocking the letters? And one thing I thought they were trying to hide through talking with inmates who got out and talking to their family members is that during this time, the past few months, 3 inmates tried to commit suicide due to the conditions in the jail. and yet no report of this happened in the media. When the jail administration was interviewed by the media, they denied this, they lied. So just one more thing I'm going to say is that, I don't know if you've heard, in the nationwide media lately, a young man named Khalif Browder has been in the news. He was in jail for 3 years in New York. He got out recently and due to psychological torture he had experienced in jail, he committed suicide a few weeks ago. It's the same sort of conditions that inmates are experiencing in Durham. If you continue to fund this jail, you may create more Khalif Browders, and you'll be complicit with institutional murder. So I suggest stop funding the jail.
Figure 28, 29, and 30.
I'm 27. My name is Rick Ryan. I'm a community member here in Durham. I live in Durham. My son goes to EK Poe, my wife. Seldom, I'd just like to add my voice to the chorus of those not for a vote, on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Figure 28.
Yes, E.L. Allison, 1315 Lauren Avenue. I don't have the time, I've got a whole lot of work here. The key is disparity. I'm going to support the information that you all have in fact put forward. The first thing I want to say is that you know that when you give the money to the school system, you have nothing to say about how they spend it. The first question I want to get, what is it, budget amendment, ordinance amendment? I want information, so once you give them this money, we can determine when we can come to change some of that. The other thing is equity. I'm here to speak about the Durham Public School Art Education Supplemental Schedule. It is tremendously inequitable. If you look at the first page you have here, 1% increase for all certified staff. When you're talking about the teachers, it's 15 to 24 years, 25%. 15 to 19 years, another 25%. If you look, I'd like to refer you all to Amendment 2, Amendment 3, Amendment 4, Amendment 5. All I'm asking for is that the information, the disparities have to be changed. Wendell Tabb and all of these people in this, they are being treated unfairly. And if we don't do something about it, we're losing students right now because they're not in the choir, they're not in the band, they're not in this and that, in the theater group. It is unbelievable the difference. One man has been there for 15 years at 13.
Could you please wrap
Nothing been
up?
done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would invite all these people to go back. The money that they cut from here, you need to show up with the Senate and the House back in conference now. That's where they're taking the money back. You need to be voting. DOT, INT, voting. And you know what I'm talking about. Everybody in
29, please.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Jarvis. I serve as the chairman of the Durham
people over there to vote for.
Believe it or not,
And they're the ones who are taking the money.
believe it or not, we love our educators. We understand going so early, working all day, taking work home, the supplies that you're having to purchase. We appreciate you. We thank you for your service. That's what I would like to say first. But I don't think it's wise to put forth monies prior to knowing what the state is going to allocate to us. We don't do this at home with our own finances, and I don't think we should do it with our local government. Especially 2 years ago when $19 million was found in an independent audit. Let's see what this year's audits reveal. We support the current plans for funding MPS. Decisions to calibrate the funding based on the final state budget simply makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you for item Speaker Curry.
Good evening. My name is Terry King. I'm a Durham Public School teacher. And I'm also a proud member of Durham Public School Public Employees. I've been a teacher here in Durham, teaching at J.B. Clement at Rowley College since 2006. Teach math. I have 2 daughters here who attend Pearson Town Elementary School, and my oldest daughter will be attending Hillside IB in fall. Durham Public Schools has served them well. We have, both me and my wife, have supported them very, very well. The one thing I do ask, with our commissioners, is that we have a sense of accountability. When I heard about the $19 million that's been misallocated, just thrown, misused, that's money that could have been going towards salaries. This money could have gone toward our kids. Don't look at this as a Democrat or Republican issue. It's good and bad on both sides. But then we have to hold our commissioners, our school board, accountable. It's money that's been wasted. So, when you make a decision, think about how you allocate your own money. If you came across $19 million, what would you do with it? What would you say, where is that money going? The money is there. We have to hold our school board accountable for the money that's been allocated for us as taxpayers. Thank you.
Speaker 31, Speaker 32,
Hi, my name is Kate Bellman. I am the PTA president at Brosnan Middle School. And I would just like to articulate that $19 million that was missing was under our previous superintendent. We have a new superintendent. And
Right.
so I love Brosnan Middle School. It is a great place. My son is very happy there. And our students are really, really smart. And the sad thing about that is that they know that their schools are being disinvested in. They feel it every day that they are in schools that their state doesn't support. Our teachers feel the disinvestment every day, and despite this, given there's our students and my children, they're all. Our parents feel this, and they feel helpless and think that they need to find a way out of Durham Public Schools, which only deepens the problem. Durham can be different. Let's leave the state and show that we care about our students, teachers, parents, and staff, and that we have their back. Please vote against this budget and vote for a new budget that has some imagination. We can do so much better here in Durham.
Speaker 33, and the final speaker is Speaker 34.
Good evening. My name is David Casey. I'm at 42 Mackerel Ridge Drive, and I am in the first week of retirement as a teacher. As much as I love being able to cook dinner for my wife this afternoon while I was at home, I love my students. I really love what I did. I love my job. And when I came to Durham Public Schools as an 11th-year teacher, 2 years later I capped out as far as the ARC subsidy was concerned. I know it's been spoken of before tonight, but I just want to again support the fact that the original budget that our school board proposed did include an increase, or at least an increase for those of us who spent many, many hours outside of the regular school day. As many know that I woke up a lot of people at 6 o'clock in the morning as Hillside's band director, and those days normally ended at 7 or 8 p.m. And I love what I did, but it would really be nice to see that something would change for those who are coming behind. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Reyes. I came from Houston to support my Uncle Dirk in Durham County Jail. I'm here to say to let everyone know that we're all humans. We all have the same rights, not to pretend that we make mistakes and have the right to be treated like slaves or worse than slaves. When I get a call from my family members in there, they're saying that they're mistreated, they are locked on more than 4 hours a day. I think pretty much doing what they and they're in a four-room. I'm sorry.
All right.
We're all humans. We all have the right. They're in there to see and value a life, but they're not slaves or not animals to be treated the way they are. Where's the law? Where's everything? What's the staff doing in there? They're beating them, they're accumulating. It's called corruption. We need to fight for justice for them. Thank you.
Shall only get, I don't know if there are allotted 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however many that you
a lot, plus an additional minutes if it's yielded to them from another speaker. So that's on the website, so I'm just confused a little bit about that.
Okay, but I don't want to waste your time.
Okay, so that's the first point, and maybe you can address it after I say the second point. So the second thing I want to speak to is what another speaker was talking about. In response to the $19 million that the school, since that's happened, the school board has changed, our superintendent has changed, our chief finance officer has changed. We spend the $19 million on children, and our DPS virtually has no savings left. Additionally, there's a budget advisory committee which 2 commissioners sit on, as well as community members, to evaluate our budget each year.
Thank you. Just share with you that the meeting that was held on the second Monday in June was a public hearing on the budget, and persons were invited to come and share on that. Tonight is our time of deliberation for this budget as we, as commissioners, will begin our discussion. I'm glad that all of you showed up tonight to really express your concerns. However, we have several items on the agenda that we must deal with tonight. Let me just remind you, it says here, at the appropriate time, Chairman Page will recognize all. Commissioners, this matter is back before us, and I would like for us to, I don't know if everybody wants to speak tonight. I can start on one end of the floor, and guys, we can kind of move from, yes, sir, Commissioner Paul.